What's up, guys? So sometimes in my spare time, I enjoy watching random tech channels that are tiny. Um, Innovation sometimes can come from these really small manufacturers. And I recently found this channel called Fluix. You guys remember this, but a while ago, Linus did this video. I'm going to move my head out of the way. And let me just play a second of it.
Here's the product description, emphasis mine. The Fluix Tri-Swift is the highest performance block on the planet.
0.5mm microchannels, proprietary sinusoidal pattern jet plate, great turbulence mixing chamber.
Something. This allows our Tri-Swift water block to lower CPU temperatures by 8 to 10 degrees Celsius during intensive workloads compared to substitute water blocks.
Okay, so in this video, it was actually surprising that Linus went out and did a video on such a small content creator, or I guess he is calling himself a brand. And if we go to his website, it actually looks pretty professional. And when I first found this site, I was kind of like questioning him. I'm like, is this a multi-person paid, like how many people are running this? And so I'm trying to kind of look down here. He has this YouTube video of him going in and essentially like setting up a bunch of water cooling, I guess. And I'll play that in one sec, but I want to get to the main point of this whole page here. So first of all, there's no way for me to buy anything. So say if I wanted to like buy his product, his AIO, which by the way, seems to consist of some EK products, his own custom block that he made, and then Arctic fans for some reason. So there's a mixture of parts here. You have to sign in, which I just absolutely won't do, especially if it's a single person who runs this company. I feel a little weird about that. So if we check out his YouTube channel, it looks pretty cool. He has his his custom Triforce whatever block here. I know I'm messing that name up. And he does have like a bunch of videos. But if we start looking at the videos, the first red flag that hit me, and I am a water cooler. I've built probably 50 custom water-cooled PCs, somewhere around there. And I'll throw some of them up on the screen. But like the quality of what we're watching here is like my quality's not that great either. I can't overly criticize him, but it's not that as much as it is like when we get into the bends. So, and there's nothing wrong with like some artsy looking bends. Let me find this section here. And the weird part too is like the commentary is really negative and on all his videos. Like I'm wondering how he stays afloat. I could not stay afloat if like I only got negative comments. Which, by the way, please don't go and find this guy and like bash him. It's not cool. But look at how bad these bends are. I mean, this looks like somebody tried to do it. And look at this. Somebody wrote this down in the comments too. They were like, I would never buy this if it was all scratched up. And like, yeah, it's probably some reused water cooling hardware. At least Bits Power is a good brand. But like the whole PC is really kind of a mess. And like, I don't know. And this goes on and on. It's not just one video. There's this custom one here, which he's talking about how small form factor computers are so good, which is true, you know, for his business, going on business trips and stuff. But it's like the amount of mess that's in this down here just to water cool. It's like you might as well just have, and this is a 1080 Ti, by the way. This video is not that old. He probably could have just left the air cooler on, and like if he really wanted to do this section here, do that section. If you're gonna really do something like this, you have to kind of like make it a very intense project, and you need to like nail it. Small builds like this are very tough to do. I don't do them that often myself for that reason specifically. Let's look at some other ones here. So he's got all these repeat videos, these shorts. But if we go to his main page, so I was trying to look at this one here. He's talking about doing clean bends. And none of the bends are clean at all. And like he's using a 16 millimeter outer diameter tube, which is huge. Like they're pretty tough to they're not hard to bend, they're hard to make perfect. They stick out like an eyesore, you know? If you do like one little mistake, it's pretty evident. But if we skip through, this is that same PC, I believe. So maybe he's just redoing content. So he's got an okay 90 there. Um, yeah, so he's just showing how to do the 90. I wanna go into a couple other ones here. So this one was the most kind of alarming. And let me play the beginning of it.
This is arguably one of the craziest water-cooled PCs we've ever built. It's not perfect by any means, but it definitely has some character.
By any means.
We kind of built it from scratch, so make sure you watch the full video to see exactly how we built this PC. Oh, and we also incorporated this crazy GPU, the Aorus RTX 3080 that comes with its own water block.
So he's calling it a crazy GPU. This was posted 7 months ago. So yeah, back then it would have still been very, very like high end. I'm so confused too because he keeps posting shorts of this same PC over and over again. So I'm never sure like what's new or what's old. But yeah, so let's just skip through all this music. He's doing he did his own custom mono block here or distro plate, sorry. And he's doing a lot of like cool like custom stuff. He made this wall PC here, this whole mount apparently he made, and it looks okay. There's something weird I don't like actually. If we go here to the GPU, this is actually just like a Lian Li or like maybe easy DIY like add-in for doing a vertical mount. So like if you're gonna do a wall mount PC like this, you should really have the card flat on there so you can show off the side of it. It just doesn't make sense unless you're using like, I don't know, one of those Thermaltake P3 cases. But as we go on through this, I'm sorry about the quality. I don't know why it's so grainy when you move it around. So he's doing some like pretty unique bends, and there is an art form to kind of wacky bends. And Jay's 2 cents did a video on it. I personally don't like it that much. Like when bends start to get all over the place, I feel like it just starts to lose that cleanliness. And like here, he's kind of doing that, but like the problem is you still have to arrange the bends in some form to make sense. And like this whole build, for an example, doesn't make much sense because you got a 240 radiator for the entire system, and this is like a 3080 is still a very hot card. And yeah, so he's got, you know, he's trying to advertise his Tri-Force whatever water block, and we have these just really wacky bends. And like this here is a concern because it's not only is it just not straight, like this is not actually going in the fitting straight. You could actually have a leak at some point. So that's a concern. We're using some of the cheapest RGB fans. These look like those like $10 fans that you find. Yeah, they are. Oh my God. They're Apivia fans. So these are some of the cheapest fans you can find. If you're going to run a 240 radiator and cool this whole thing, you can do it. It's not going to run great. It's going to get hot, but you need to run actual high static pressure fans, not some Apivia like case fans out of a $60 RGB case on Amazon. Let's see. Yeah, you can see up here, up at the top where it starts to get, I mean, some of it's pretty cool looking. But so moving forward, this is his AIO, he claims, is his custom solution for companies. And so essentially what Linus proved is that the three-way, so what he's trying to do is he's trying to shoot 2 jets of water in at the same time to kind of cause a disruption on the block. And then there's an outlet to have the hot water escape. just like any other block, but instead you have a splitter. So it's like, think of like a catback exhaust on a car, right? You're not really having true dual exhaust. You have like a single pipe going to a catback and then two tips on the end. He's essentially doing that, which is it can be good for pressure like in a vehicle, but for this situation, like it's not exactly. So you can see it right here. Um, but you don't get a real good view of this AIO. So he's got a pump here. Let's go back and look at it. He has a pump basically strapped to these fans, so you're not saving a lot of space. AIOs are very convenient. The other thing is that when he tested this against AIOs. This is a real custom pump. This is expensive. This whole unit here could probably cost $400. And if you're testing against this to an AIO, of course your numbers are going to be different. These Arctic fans are pretty decent. And all things said and done, like, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the EKWB Predator. But that kind of failed too. There was like leaks and issues, and people just, it's like, if you're going to do a custom loop, you'll do a custom loop. If you want an AIO, you want an AIO. If you want air cooling, you're air cooling. The in-between market doesn't seem to be there all the time. Now, there are companies that do complete water cooling setups for their like enterprise use case scenarios because it does help. But, and maybe his website does work. Maybe he's getting sales. I don't know. But to me, this is just the weirdest TechTuber page. And I know I'm kind of like going on another rant. I'm like the most ranty tech page at this point. But there's a lot of it. There's a lot of this going on. So this one here is not that bad. It's pretty good. There's a couple bends. This one in particular that he's putting on is really kind of out of whack. He could have used a cross-fitting at the top of the loop, on the CPU block here. If he used a cross-fitting, he could have raised this up if he didn't want to redo that bend. And that would have been, it would have been a total game changer because the rest of the computer would look pretty straight. But as you can see, like, especially when you add in that fluid, which is the worst fluid, by the way. But when you add in a fluid like this, you're really highlighting how crooked it is. And like in this situation, like look here, if you see this bits power, see how crooked that is? Either he didn't cut it straight and sand it, or it's like cut at an angle, or like this fitting is just bending way back. And you don't want that because eventually it could leak. And yeah, I mean, it looks okay. There's a lot on this PC too, like he keeps using it in videos over and over again, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with using the thing that you make to make content. And here we are, we're back to that squiggly, somebody called it the squiggly straw, and it definitely looks like a squiggly straw. So in this graph, it shows off how badly it's performing versus what it's competing with.
With our CPU in default mode, maximum package temperatures hit 85 degrees with the Fluix block with an average of 82. That is over 10 degrees higher than our EK block. It pulled about 10 more watts, okay, so fair enough, but our average core clocks were actually slightly worse, which would indicate to us that that higher power draw was likely due to higher thermals, not higher performance.
Yeah. So it's not working. Essentially, the Tri-Force of Wisdom is not, cooling the block correctly. This is his response to Linus. I'll play it now.
I'm reading from a script because I want to make sure I get this right. To our beloved customers, you have been our highest supporters, and we want to do right by you. If you have purchased an Intel Tri-Swift water block from our website, Fluix.
I have to stop it. There's music in the background. Go.
Pro.com, you will be receiving an improved cold plate with accessories and installation guide for 12th gen. Free of.
So he pretty much goes on to explain. There's a couple TikTok videos. I'm going to link all this stuff down below if you feel like you want to investigate. It is pretty interesting. This video is getting a little bit long. I just am confused about what it is. I respect people who are like him and they want to go out and make their own small company. I just feel like a bit of research and some time will save you a lot of money, because I feel like a mistake like this, like even having that machined, it's probably not going to cost that much to have that thing machined, because the cold plate and probably most of the materials are reused from a different thing. I think all he did was change the top, the acrylic part of the block, and he probably just had an extra hole drilled. And it's really, and that's why it's not performing that well, because it's not actually designed from like an engineer. I think he's just adding to something. It reminds me of when I was a kid. You know, I used to like put custom labels on things and be like, "Oh, it's my brand," and it's just one of those things. It feels silly. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you want, and peace out for now. Bye.